The moment had finally arrived. I have been thinking about it for years. I have been planning it for months. 3 weeks ago, I actually booked the trip, and now the time had arrived. I was going to finally get to take my first sailing lesson. Why is this important? Because for me, sailing had become this beautiful metaphor in my head for how life goes. You hoist the sails, you captain the ship, and then life takes you on a journey. There's a degree of control, you're driving, but then there's a degree of not in control. The wild west of exploration. Where will you end up? Some days you can tell, and some days you can't. I learned 3 valuable lessons while sailing that I think that you can use to take hold of your dreams. All of you, when you were little children, had goals, and you had dreams. And sometimes in the busyness of life, we kind of forget them. We get up, we go to work, we make our breakfast, we get the kids to school, we get kids to soccer. We just get busy, and then we're tired. I know you guys get tired. Like at the end of the day, I'm just tired. I want to go to bed. I may want to watch a little Jimmy Fallon. You know, I mean, sporadically, that's pretty fun. But I want to encourage you to take these 3 lessons that I've learned and apply them to your life. The 3 lessons that I'm going to tell you about today are: sailing is not as much fun alone. Don't go sailing alone. Be prepared, have a plan, but expect the unexpected. And the last lesson that I'm going to tell you about today is you have to make continuous course corrections. So sailing alone. Technically, you can sail alone. There are these little bitty sailboats, and they're designed for one person, okay? Little bitty sailboat. And you can do the thing yourself, and you have to lean into it, and it's very physical. And it's a lot of work, and it's not really fun. Like, you have the joy, but you want to share the joy, and there's nobody to share it with. The wind and the sun. But really, there's no person that's going to share that joy, and it's also a lot of work. Like, there's literally, to get your Eagle Scout badge, you have to learn how to flip a sailboat that's capsized by yourself, back upside down. That does not sound like fun to me. It's a lot of work. We've all heard the expression that a burden that is shared is a burden that is halved. In life, you don't want to go it alone. You need people in your life. You need people that are going to help make it fun. You know, Friday afternoon happy hour, sitting by yourself at the bar is not a good time. Probably a recipe for some alcoholism, I was saying. Also, life is hard. Sometimes you need somebody to come alongside you and to help share your burden. You need somebody to laugh with you, to cry with you. You can, in fact, do life alone. And you have to live a very small life. Do you know why? Because if you don't live a small life and you want to be by yourself, you have 2 problems that could happen. Number 1, you live a small life, one small life, someone could notice you and they can make fun of you, or not like you, or judge you. So that's problem number 1. The second problem is that somebody may see you, and if you bring attention to yourself, they may like you and want to spend time with you, which ruins the whole plan of living your life by yourself. So, do not live life alone. The second thing that I learned while I was sailing, you have to be prepared. So my skipper actually was kind enough to pick me up at the BART station, which is public transportation. So I flew in from an airplane, took a train, she picked me up. And the first thing she does is, we got to get on the internet. And I'm like, I thought we were going sailing. Why is there a computer involved? Because you have to check the weather predictions. You have to see what the wind is going to be like. You have to know all of the things that you're going to be up against. You have to make a plan. This is where we're going to sail. This is how the wind is going to be acting. You have to be prepared. When we got out to the dock, we go into, and I'm thinking, now it's time to go sailing. I showed up and I had my little foul weather gear, I had my life preserver, I had these shoes on. And not ready yet. There's a lot of things involved in sailing. You have to go through a checklist. You have to make sure that the sail hoists. You have to make sure you have a fire extinguisher. And you have to make sure that you have flares. I don't want to think about why we need flares. I don't want to think about why we need a hand crank in case the battery doesn't work. But you have to be prepared. And then you have to be ready for things not to go the way you think that they're going to go. As we were leaving our berth, we were backing out, everything's all ready to go, and the wind grabs us right at the last minute. And we're trying to not hit the boat next to us, and everybody's all doing what we're doing, and the next thing you know, the anchor gets hooked on the boat next to us, and I'm freaking out, completely freaking out. So I just sit there and like really quiet because everybody else seems to know what they're doing. And so there was constant communication with the skipper. There's so much I learned. There's a whole book coming out of this. Constant communication, and we need to go forward and we need to go backward and we need to... She had to be prepared for what could possibly come. And in the same way, in life, you have to be prepared, make a plan, and expect the unexpected. So in life, when you are making a plan, you've all heard the expression, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Those of us that are entrepreneurs in our head, we love to do. We're doers. We don't really like the plan. But the more that we can plan and be prepared in advance for the things that we're going to come against in our business life, then the better that we are going to be able to handle the unexpected. So when you get ready to start a business, you kind of have to have a plan. And I am not the one that is going to stand here and say you have to have a 30-page business plan. But you do have to actually understand a lot of things about the market. You have to understand, does anybody want to buy window washing? If nobody's willing to pay for window washing, might not be a good idea. I don't care how passionate you are. So you have to make a plan. But then unexpected things happen. How many of you have had your day completely planned out? You have all of it organized. You have your task list. You have your appointments. And bam, you are going to end the day feeling good. And the phone rings. And suddenly your plans are for naught. Because you get a call that someone was in an accident. Someone has been diagnosed with a disease. You have to be prepared for the unexpected. And you have to be willing to change up. And your sailboat just got snagged in somebody else's sailboat. And you didn't plan it, and you didn't prepare it. You got to deal with it. The third lesson that I think that you can learn from sailing, continuous course correction. Now I have to be really, really honest. You guys are the first people I'm telling this besides my husband. I had this beautiful, idyllic idea of what sailing was like. I mean, how many of you watched Failure to Launch? Matthew McConaughey, I'm just saying, like, that's probably why I like sailing. Because he sells sailboats in that movie. And in the movie, he's teaching his girlfriend to sail. And so he puts her behind the wheel, and he shows her what to do, and it's just the two of them on this giant sailboat. I hope to sail a sailboat that's this easy to sail someday. And he goes downstairs to get some food. She's like, where are you going? What are you doing? You can't leave me alone. And he said, why? What's going to happen? She goes, well, what if I run into something? And it pans, and there's just water. And she goes, well, okay, I'm just sailing. And I got to be honest, that's what I thought sailing was going to be like. This beautiful, just hoist the sails, just sailing in my little cutie outfit with my cutie shoes. No. Let me just tell you, the furthest thing from that. So, skipper says, okay, Angela, your turn. This looks much harder than I thought. I'm having a hard time following your rule that says nobody leaves the boat accidentally or on purpose. Like, she told me that was the rule, and I thought, that sounds like an easy rule. Yeah, that was a hard rule. Like, the boat is constantly like this, and then like this, and so I make my way to the front, and I literally like can barely even stand up, and so I'm like having to prop my feet, and she goes, okay, go ahead. Wah, wah, wah. She goes, okay. Hold on a minute. How about I steer, leave your hands there, and let me show you. Let me show you how to gently. And just like when you're learning to drive, you remember when you first drove and you're like, ah, and you get scared and you overcorrect. It's the same sort of thing. And so I'm like literally wrestling this boat. And she goes, okay, do you see that right there? I want you to point to the left end of that island, the island of Alcatraz. This is the coolest thing ever! I get to tell everybody my first time sailing, I'm sailing toward Alcatraz. Okay, that's a prison. Maybe this isn't a good analogy. Still, it was awesome. I'm not kidding. Constant. Had to like keep, like the wind would gust this way, and so I would pull the, and I would pull the, I was exhausted. Literally, like the next day my shoulders are hurting from trying to keep this boat on track. She had to manage with the wind. It was hard work. Just like life, things happen, and you have to continually make course corrections. Maybe some of you, for New Year's, set some New Year's resolutions. Maybe your goal was to eat less sugar or to lose some weight. Maybe you decided that you were going to go mountain climbing. And maybe you've drifted. And maybe the wind is just taking you and you get tired. But just like I wrestled that sailboat, you today can get back on course. You can make the next step to get back on course. Don't wait till next New Year's. Decide today. If your goal is to increase your exercise, walk down the stairs. Don't take the elevator. Whatever you can do today to get back on track and course correct for your goals, don't wait. Start now. So 3 lessons that I learned on sailing that hopefully will help you with your goals. Number 1, don't sail alone. That's why we're here. We have evaluators, we have teammates, people to encourage us along the way. Next, make a plan, be prepared, but expect the unexpected. In Toastmasters, we have to make a plan to accomplish our goals. In life, if we're going to start a business, we're going to make a plan. But we're not going to freak out when it doesn't go like we want. And the 3rd step is to continually course correct. In that way, you will stay pointed exactly where you were headed. Don't wait. Start today.